Hi everyone and welcome to the Adobe Live Show on Behance. This week it's about editorial design and our first guest is Brett Newman.
Hi guys.
Hey Brett.
How's it going?
Good to have you here. We have all our friends here. Yeah, we're live from San Francisco. Let us know where you're from.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, I see our dear friends Laura, Matthias, Munir, they're already there. This is awesome. Tyron, hey team, thanks for watching.
Hey, Tim.
So this week it's about editorial design. So what we mean is graphic design with print as an application. Maybe that could be a good definition.
Yeah.
We have
multiple pages, a lot of paper.
Tangible design.
Very tangible.
Very
That's
tangible.
the goal.
And we'll have you first for 2 hours. Then we welcome Ryan Lowe, who is young but very talented designer based in the Bay also.
Great.
And we'll welcome after Maude. So Maude is from Quebec. She speaks French, which is awesome. You know,
Good for you.
I can only agree. But she works in New York now. So also a great work. And then Marcel, who is in the chat, Marcel Prats, who has also taken the plane to land in beautiful San Francisco to be live with us. So
You do great, Marcel. We'll see you soon.
So we will have giveaways. I can show you. We will give away randomly some illustrations. So these posters were created on Adobe Live. They were created live.
Great.
Yeah. And also we give away Creative Cloud subscription. And to get a chance to win a Creative Cloud, you need to enter the contest. I will talk about it maybe in 10 minutes, but in the meantime, you can check the contest tab. Haiku Blue, you see, we have people from DC. Yeah, Mr. T, yeah, you can win let me show it again, maybe.
Out of the way.
Yeah.
This way.
Pity the fools. Yeah, this way, here, just behind you. It was an illustration made by Rob Zilla. He made this illustration on an iPad.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Great work.
And sometimes he appears in the chat. So maybe during our show we will see Rob. So let's see that. Okay, so Brett, what I want as a starter is to discover you and your work. So maybe we can have a look at your website and I will let yourself introduce yourself, okay, to our friends. Okay, let's do that.
Cool. So, like Michael said, my name's Brett. I'm originally from upstate New York, a little town kind of near Buffalo and Rochester. Anybody out there?
Yeah, let us know.
Nowhere, yeah.
Someone from
Snow
Buffalo.
and lakes and stuff like that. It's great. I've been in San Francisco for close to 10 years now. I currently work as a design director at Hybrid Design here in the city. We work over in the Mission in the
Mission.
studio. It's great. Yeah, exciting.
Which is
24th Street.
not too far. Not too far from Adobe.
Easy. So I can take you through a little bit of the work that we do there. Hybrid's like a pretty diverse studio and the types of work that we get to do. We're lucky enough to...
That's why it's named Hybrid, I guess.
Yeah, see? Exactly.
See? Branding.
We're lucky enough to do a lot of print still, which is,
awesome.
Which is great in this day and age. And that's part of the reason why I'm here. I can take you through a couple projects that we've worked on. This is something you've seen behind me, I think.
We have a question from Matthias. Say we need posters from Brett, but do you create posters like personal work?
I haven't recently, but it's always on the mind. For sure. Like a lot of stuff in school, and we try to do as many posters at work as we can. But the clients don't always need them.
And maybe you will do one live this week.
I think I'll do one this week, probably later in the...
Maybe on Thursday, on day 3.
Thursday.
Yeah, because Brett will be live with us. If this is the first time you join Adobe Live, he will be live with us today and also tomorrow, Wednesday, and on Thursday, same time, every day. And so maybe if he creates a poster live, maybe we can give away the poster.
Yeah, love it.
We can do that. So stay tuned.
Cool.
Good idea, Matthias.
Yeah. So just a quick example of some editorial work that we do at Hybrid. Mohawk Paper is a pretty well-known paper company out of New York. They make really great uncoated and fine papers, and one of our most beloved clients because it's print and it's tangible, and they understand the world that we're trying to give to the rest of the community. And every quarter, Hybrid curates and produces a quarterly editorial for Mohawk, where we basically have a theme each issue, and then we curate and design the theme, the issue based on that theme. And it's really fun. Everybody in the studio gets to get involved, and we get a lot of experiences from all different people in the studio, and it becomes a really fun process. And aptly named, this issue is called Process. So we tried to have all of our thinking and our concepting sort of revolve and come back to the central idea. So this idea of process, it exists in any form of design and any form of art and in craftsmanship. So we tried to make this issue highlighting people that value process, and we tried to reflect that in the design as well. So as we go through each of our sort of page openers and our title pages like this were created by hand. So we had a lot of fun in the studio ripping paper and throwing paint around and really creating these really analog compositions.
And on the right, did you use a grid for the composition?
Yeah, so this is just like a...
I'm kidding.
This one, yeah, can't you see it's a little line here? Just like a little nod to sketchbooks and things like that that people sort of
You felt the professional designer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You heard me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he used a grid.
Always use a grid,
I love
especially
this one.
when we don't. Yeah, so this idea that process is reflective in all of our work, whether or not it's obvious or not. This is another just example of analog process that we try to interject with the content here. Is this one was everybody knows, or maybe if you don't, go home and try it. It's great. This classic trick of putting type in a scanner, and as it's scanning, moving it around slightly with your hand, you get these really beautiful waves in the type. So
good.
And even you can see here there's some stitching that we bound the book with, and we did in different colors. So we wanted to highlight these pieces of the book that a lot of times get ignored, and really highlight that.
We have Elena in the chat saying good evening. It's the morning for us, Elena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where are you, Elena? Where are you from? We'll see. So there is a delay. So there is a 10-second delay. So don't be surprised if they are not shy. It's just it takes some time. Yeah. Wow, look at that. Nice.
So kind of as we go through here, this is an example of the mill at Mohawk. So we did because process was the focus, we did a feature about how the paper gets made at Mohawk, and we don't have the whole feature here, but it was a beautiful photo essay of all these like really big industrial processes that at the end create this beautiful paper that the book is printed on. And then another fun thing we did throughout this issue is we had footnotes running around the whole book, and we basically talked about our process at Hybrid, and added it into the issue, so you could.
That's nice.
We explained why we made some decisions, and tried to make some jokes and make things fun. And then this illustration down here is an abstraction of the paper process.
Okay.
So we, depending on the type of paper that we used here, we showed where the important process for that was. So there's things like drying racks.
Can you just scroll, because it's here. So we can show it here.
There you go. So a lot of detail in this book, and it was really fun to bring those details to the front.
And how can we get this? So was it for the customers of the?
So the quarterly, Mohawk gives out the quarterly free if you subscribe.
It's free, okay.
And then Mohawk is always at a lot of the Adobe events and the AIGA stuff, and they bring books with them there.
Yeah.
So that's a great place to get it. But if you go on Mohawk's website, you can sign up with your address, and you'll get one of these awesome things every quarter.
Awesome.
And we did a really fun feature with the artist Tom Sachs, who is famous for his detailed process and really showing his process to the viewer.
Yeah, the great exhibition San Francisco.
Yeah, the NASA
with the spaceship.
Yeah, it was great. So he did a little field notes for us, and we helped him print,
so cool.
with some of his rules and measurements and stuff like that. So a nice little extra for our people. I don't know. Talk about another one, or
maybe we can talk about another one tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, you wanted to explain how you created this website.
Oh yeah. So just recently, I ditched my WordPress for an Adobe. What do they call now? Portfolio, right.
Mm-hmm.
So basically everything links directly from my Behance page. So anything that you update or add or change here will be reflected in the portfolio website. And they have a lot of really beautiful, simple templates to choose from, and everything gets laid out pretty similar to
the project you have on Behance.
To how it is on Behance. So I was really happy with how it turned out, and the process was super easy. It's almost like clicking a button, and then you go in and customize and change things.
And this is a service part of the Creative Cloud subscription. So if you're a Creative Cloud member and you maintain your Behance projects, your Behance profile and page, it's one click really. Like you generate a portfolio, website, you can associate your domain name, and choose the template, tweak the template, and every time you update your profile on Behance, adding a project or updating the project, it will update the website, because that's always you always have designers where you say, oh, this is my website, but check my Behance profile, because the Behance
more
profile is up to date.
Work. Yeah, it's great now. I don't have to make excuses. Everything will just be
in sync.
Be ready. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so should we jump into the brief about what you will be doing today? Maybe I can show you what they will do. Today, because they will also participate in a contest to get a chance to win a Creative Cloud subscription. So the way it works is that you have a contest tab, in the next to the chat, on the behance.net/live. Make sure to check all the rules, but basically what we invite you to do is to get a free template, because now on Adobe Stock you have templates for InDesign, Photoshop,
for mock-ups and renderings and things like that too.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was really amazed by the number of free templates for InDesign. So in the contest tab, you have the link to this one, and you can click on Open in InDesign also. So directly from Adobe Stock.
Great.
So it will magically sync the template. I don't exactly know how it works, but Creative Cloud will download the template and open it in InDesign. So depending on the size of the file, it might take a few seconds, and InDesign should pop out. So it's a template, a holiday card. Nothing crazy. We invite you to customize really the template. Okay, so you can change the colors, you can change the illustration, change the message, the typeface, and at the end of the show, Brett, we will review the entries, and I will ask you, which one do you prefer?
Sure.
And it's a huge responsibility.
I accept.
You accept it. So you see, it's downloading already, converting the file. So it's a INDT for InDesign template. So you can change everything, and then to share it with us. So I want to introduce you to a feature of InDesign that is not very well known, but which is awesome. And you just have to click on Publish Online. Okay. So if you click on Publish Online, it will. So you can add my entry for the contest. Okay. Or export as single or spread. Like, you have a lot of options, but basically I will click on Publish. And it will create web pages from my InDesign document. So a web version with a unique URL that you can share with us. Okay. So now it's preparing the doc, exporting all the images. It will upload the images to Creative Cloud, and then you have a web experience that you can share. Yeah. And you can use it for your customers if you want some feedback, comments on the pages. That's
super helpful.
Yeah, and it's part of Creative Cloud too. Okay, now it's uploading the documents. Upload speed may vary on the internet connection. Okay, it's quite fast. And you will see that here you have a URL that you can copy and share with us. But if I open the browser now, these are my spreads. So here I use the single page mode, but you can use the spread mode. And then I will have the pages next to each other.
It's the same as exporting a PDF, basically.
Yeah,
Great.
but it's because what's hard for the viewers would be to upload a PDF to us, when here they just have to share a link.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So super easy, be creative, talking about the holidays, so yeah, let's be playful. And Nancy's asking, can I rotate it to the landscape? Yeah, why not? I mean, just be creative, we will see. You start with the template, be creative, maybe you will surprise Brett with something crazy.
Yeah. Try it.
Yeah, we will see, who knows. Okay, Brett, so we'll start working on an amazing project with you. And you worked on a fictional brief, I would say that?
Yeah. I put together a little kind of a brief light, if you will, and then we'll kind of walk through a little bit of the process that I go through and my team goes through before we start a project like this. It'll be abbreviated, obviously, for time, but hopefully I'll give you a sense of the kind of legwork that goes into a project before we start throwing stuff on the page.
Awesome. So at Hybrid, you don't do all the projects in 6 hours for your customers?
Some, but most usually take more time than that.
Okay.
And that's like, the more time you spend up front thinking about what you're going to do, the better then product usually is.
Yeah.
That's not always the case, but it's a good practice.
So Brett, we share the full creative process. Don't hesitate to ask questions. It's very rare to have someone sharing the process, especially like how they work in an agency, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. We will learn a lot, but don't hesitate to ask questions, okay? Tugan is asking how long this unique web page link stays active for life. Tugan, there is no time limit for the link that we will share with Publish Online. You want to show the brief?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do it. All right. So I put a little document together already, and I'll just kind of walk you guys through part of this. So basically what we're going to be doing over these 3 days is making a little magazine, more or less. It's going to be more than a zine. Probably more it's going to be bigger than a traditional zine, I would think. We'll talk about the size in a second. And
can you explain for me the difference between a zine and a magazine?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's the difference, is a little bit subjective, but when we talk about zines, it's usually something that is smaller and a little bit lower budget. So, the history of zines was like people making small magazines out of probably 8.5 by 11 size paper, and you'd print it and you'd fold it and you'd saddle stitch with staples, and then you'd have this this magazine that you could make at FedEx or you could make at Staples, wherever you had access to a printer. So it was a really democratic and easy way to get information in people's hands.
I see.
And anyone could do it. You didn't need to be a designer. You just needed to know how to work a photocopier, basically. So it was a really cool sort of way for lots of voices to be heard. And then on the opposite side, when we're talking about a regular magazine, it's usually something with a little bit higher production value. So it's probably has a more sophisticated binding technique, and the size might be bigger and generally printed at printed offset or something with a bigger printer. So I think we'll talk about size in a second, and I'll tell you guys why we chose what we did.
Magazine? Okay.
And so basically the objective that I've come up with for this project is create a publication that celebrates photographers, and I think eventually down the road other professionals. So the content that I have for this event is 3 of my friends that are working photographers. So a series of photos from each of them, and I think this concept for the magazine could eventually extend into other working creatives, designers and illustrators and anything else, architects, things like that. So just want to talk about these photographers and the connection with the world around them, and that's basically what photographers do, right? Different ways to interpret and capture the world around them. This publication should have a uniform voice, but allow the artist to express their work in an individual way. So the goal, basically, of this entire Editorial technically is to develop a system that is flexible, but also still a system. So we're going to try to create type styles and grids and stuff that will allow us to...
So some structure.
Yeah, structure, but the structure will allow us to be more flexible and sort of change depending on, you know, the message that the photographer is trying to get across, or something I want to do. Yeah, so we'll get into that a little bit later. And then secondary objective, I think we were talking about posters before. I think later in the stream, the next couple days, we'll do a poster to promote the quote-unquote launch of this magazine. So we'll pretend that we'll have a big party and we rent like a cool warehouse or something. And
why should we pretend?
Why should we pretend?
Yeah, let's have a party.
Let's do it. We'll talk afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a question by H2B2. What is the best advice you can give, I guess, like when you start a project, you begin a project?
It's a little bit different for everybody, but for me, I like to just sort of like sit and think about the project for a while and take notes and make sort of beginning sketches. And another important piece to do, especially if it's a project that's going into the real world as a commercial product, is taking a look at what else is being made. And thanks for bringing that up. I have an example of, I didn't do this specifically for this project, but I have an example of what we would do at Hybrid. We call it an audit before we start a project, where we go through and research and see what is in the market already, so we don't duplicate or like create something that's too close to something else.
Okay.
So I'll just like quickly go through. This is an audit we did for a music and film publication. So you can kind of just see, it's like 25-page document, and we basically go through and pull. We call it swipe. Other people have different names for it, but you know, we find these magazines and sort of analyze the magazines and see what we like and what we don't like about them. And that way we have some metrics to go back to and compare when we're creating a publication. So I'll just go through quickly. You know, Pitchfork is a big name in music publication, so obviously that's going to be on the list.
They have a magazine?
They do, yeah. It's really beautiful. They call it the Pitchfork Review.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, you should pick some up. They're really cool. You know, and spending some time getting familiar with the industry and, you know, type of publications that are out there is really important. So this is just a quick example. I won't spend too much time on this, but you can see some examples are very illustration based. Yeah. So it's good to have your spectrum of like photography and type and illustration, so you can find where your publication is going to lie. Grade Discontent is a great design resource. Especially, they do a little print zine these days too, but the website is great also.
Website's awesome.
A really nice sort of like view into the philosophy and the process of a lot of creatives. It's a cool way to get inspiration without looking at like images of design, which I think is pretty important to sort of look elsewhere for your inspiration and ideas, because if everyone's, you know, looking at designspiration.net or whatever the URL is, stuff is going to get kind of siloed and homogeneous, and that's not really what we want, at least not what I want. So keep it varied is my advice. So you again, we go through it. It's important to do this before you start in on a project, and it'll help. It helps your clients realize that you know the world that you're about to embark on, and gives them confidence, and in turn gives you confidence. Cool. So it's a great way to start.
Okay, so we know what you want to do. Oh, you want to talk about the size.
Yeah.
So is it also important to have the size in mind before starting the design?
It is and it isn't. I think if you have a general idea of what size you want to make, that's best. So then you don't have to basically redo your magazine or your book near the end of it. But you know, it's important also to, like, when you start in on a kind of project like this, your printer will ideally help you determine some technical specifications. So there's like an optimal size magazine to get as many sheets printed at once as possible to make it cost effective. So the printer that you're working with can help you decide, like, that's maybe why this is like 11.75 and not 12, is that, if we cut inches here and there, we're able to get more sheets printed at once, and then you get a more cost effective book, which is better for everybody.
Kevin is asking how much time you usually spend on the research
on the
phase.
audit. I would say it's probably a good quarter of the process.
Wow.
So
25%.
25%, maybe a little bit less, depends on the timeline of a project, I think.
But if you have time, you will always invest in this.
Absolutely. Because then nothing will surprise you as you go along, and especially if you finish this lovely magazine and you've named it and you've done all these things, and then someone's like, "Oh, what about this other magazine that looks very, very similar, and even the name is the same," and and then you feel kind of dumb, and it's worth it for everyone to spend the time in the beginning, and that's like where you get to learn about new things also. So it's like we don't always know intimately what we're going to be designing about, so this research process allows us not only to see visually what is out there, but also just to like mentally familiarize yourself with the industries and types of content. So It's important. Spend as much time as you can on it. So like I was saying earlier, just talking about the sizes, these are some of the quick sizes that I've put together, and basically I've just measured magazines that I like.
Okay, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, we don't just like pull sizes out of thin air generally. So I have a bigger size and a smaller size, and we kind of talked about the difference of these. And I think for this application, we're going to go towards the bigger size. It'll allow us to be a little bit more flexible with our layout. And also at the same time, when you think about your content, we're showing like beautiful photographs. So the bigger and the more grand, the better. Cool. So we're gonna go with this bigger size once we set up.
Hi Priyasha, thanks for watching. Yeah, this is the first stream of the day. We're with Brett, and we will welcome 3 more graphic designers working on editorial design projects. And Brett, we're now sharing the brief, working on a magazine to showcase photographers. And we have the brief. Now you feel comfortable with the size?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with this size, and changing it along the way is not ideal, but it happens. Along the process. You hit roadblocks, and certain things determine out of your control. So, but we're gonna stick with that the size for now.
Okay.
And then another thing to think about too is, is how we want to bind this magazine. So before you set up your file, it's good to know which way you're leaning as far as the construction of the book. So if I were to make a zine, which would probably be the smaller size, zines open really flat. They open more, they don't have as much structure. So the gutter in your file and in your magazine can be smaller, so you can get type closer to the middle of the book because you can open these things flat. And if you perfect bind, which most magazines that you see out there are, your gutter is larger, so you can't get things as close to the in the middle.
You cannot read if there is text in the middle. It will be hard to read.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's important. You don't have to know exactly, but if you have an idea, it's good to just keep it in mind before you set up your file, so then you don't have to go back and change your margins and relay out everything. So we're gonna do, because it's a bigger size and we're gonna go like traditional magazine route. We're gonna do perfect bound book.
Okay, perfect bound.
Yep. Which is basically like anything if people don't know what perfect binding is, it's basically all the pages stacked together and then glued on the edge, like layers and layers of glue. Really flexible, kind of gummy glue, so you can open and crack the spine and everything, and it'll still stay together. It's really tough. It's simple. It's a great way to bind a book.
Okay.
And then the naming. So I have this covered right now.
It's a great cover.
Yeah. See this nice black square. basically, I think I have a name in mind, but I would be more than welcome for suggestions on naming. I know.
So you share some values on the right, like.
Yeah. So this is like my secondary name. So I think like as a magazine goes.
Oh, you want to see issue number 1.
Yeah. So how we talk about the different type of issue. So issue is the normal way. A quarterly, like I talked about before, is like something that comes up 4 times a year. I personally like volume for this. I think it's just it's a nice word and it implies space, which is cool. And
it's French.
And it's French, sure, yeah, even better. Collectif.
Collectif.
So secondary naming, I think we can talk about that. But my the name of the magazine would be more than welcome suggestions from the chat.
We have some branding specialists watching us in the chat. So Brett, how would you describe again the magazine? So you need to find the name. So
yeah, so I think
here's the pitch.
So it's important to think a little bit beyond just photography for this. So for this event, I'm just going to be using photographers for the content, but I think this magazine can basically just be something to celebrate working creatives and professionals.
Okay, in general.
In general, from designers to architects to...
not only photography.
Yeah, not only photography. Okay, that's only what we'll see today. But so in that way, the name can be kind of abstract, which is fun.
Kevin says you should name it Black Square.
Black Square? That's pretty good.
Mark is asking... because you talked about binding, different methodologies. So is this something that you discuss with the customer in advance, like during the brief, because it has an impact on the budget?
It does, yeah. It kind of depends on snap. That's a good one. Just like the shutter of a camera. As far as the binding goes.
Gucci gang.
Gucci gang.
Oh my god. Focus. Okay.
Yeah, so it depends on your process and when you talk to your printer. I think it's a good thing to bring up to clients in the beginning, and they, you should come with a recommendation and say like perfect binding is the right thing for this, or we want to do a sewn binding to give it a little bit more premium sort of handmade quality.
Yeah. You have to explain why it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you cannot just tell a customer we will use this. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So
you have more entries. You have a frame, expression.
Yeah, vision. Those are good. Frame is cool. I like the I like the brackets around there.
Capture
is good. So those things, a lot of them seem maybe a little bit too focused on photography, like the capture and the raw. So something a little bit more universal would be great. Observation's good. I like that.
No, we won't use the Gucci gang. Not very better here.
Never.
We won't use this name.
Cool. So, well, I'll show you guys what I have. Look is nice.
Ping is like, just call it A.
Yeah, A. Yeah. Super graphic.
And the second issue, you call it B. Like you rename the magazine every time.
That's nice. AIS. So I'll go through a list that I have here. The name that I like right now is Assemblage, which is
French.
Which is French too. Sure, it's great.
I can only approve.
So I started making a list and thought about things that have to do with light and photography, like refraction and range and exposure and things like that. A collection I thought was fun too, like we did with that frame. But Assemblage I think makes the most sense to me because it's it's the act of like bringing things and people blending together and blending. So not just photography, not just design. It's this act of bringing people and work together.
And it can have also a graphic style associated, like like you can blend merge shapes or styles like on the same page. I think it should be very good to play with this name. Yeah,
so I think we can start there. Okay. And then it's not a big deal to switch our names and think about some stuff later. And then I like the idea of volume. So Assemblage Volume 1,
Let's
Volume 2.
French.
Let's keep it all across the board. And then from there, just like a quick outline of the stuff that we're gonna be working on. So, you know, a magazine is gonna be much more robust than this at the end of the day.
Okay.
But for these 3 days, we're gonna do an intro, which could more or less be an editor's letter, and then a TOC, table of contents,
Okay.
Which will just sort of like highlight these 3 features, and then
An outro. Okay.
an outro sometimes is nice, just as like sometimes magazines have a directory of credits listed at the end, or sometimes it's just like a thanks for reading type of thing. But it's just another example of how to use type styles.
And Kayla is asking you, how do you find out if a name has already been used?
That's part of what the research is about. It's a Google search obviously is helpful, and I think there's an art magazine out there right now called Assemblage something. Okay. So I realize that it's not the most unique, but if we were actually creating a magazine from scratch, we'd be spending a lot of time in that department, and we'd be talking to a legal department to make sure that we can get URL and we can get copyright, trademark, all that stuff. So we're gonna pretend that we did that already, and names are good to go.
Luisa is asking, will the video be posted later? Yeah, you can watch the replay after this live, so it will be posted on the Creative Cloud YouTube channel. Okay, so but if you search on YouTube Brett Newman Adobe Live, it will show up. Yeah, it will be very easy to find. It will be on YouTube. Yeah, let's say that. Okay, so what's the plan? How do we want to start?
The plan, I think, is just to start setting up a file.
You mean this amazing feature, which is File New?
File New.
Wow.
Yeah.
This will be insane.
All right, so refresh myself for the size.
Yeah,
so we're going to do 11.795 high, 9.35 wide.
And in the meantime, stay tuned. Remember that we will do some giveaway at any time. Just have to stay tuned and be in the chat to get a chance to win all these posters. And also we invite you to participate in the contest. So check the contest tab. Today we are playing with an InDesign template. It's a free template available on Adobe Stock. It's called Cheerful Holiday Card Layout. Yeah. Is it cheerful, you think? Yeah. Okay, no.
Sure.
Yeah. I think it can work, but I'm sure you can make it better. You can change the colors, the typeface, the illustration, and put the spirit of Christmas and holidays in general in your design. And check the contest tab. We explain how to share the design with us, and at the end of the show, Brett will choose his favorite design to get a chance to win Creative Cloud. Okay. Good luck.
Great. Good
so
prize.
Let's go back to InDesign CC and start a new document.
Here we go. All right, so we got our size in there. So everyone sets up their documents different. Some people do all their settings in this window. I like to just create the size and then work with my grids and guides.
And that's it. You're ready?
Visually, and yeah, we're done, right? So something I usually start with is a master.
Yeah. So make sure to explain all the steps, because some viewers are beginners, with InDesign.
Sure. First off, let's save this.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's a pro tip.
Oh, I spelled that wrong. Let's just shorten it. What's today? 19th?
Yes. Are you always very organized like this, or it's just for the life?
No, I try to be. I think like with dealing with so many files and so many projects a day, it's important to date everything and make sure you're saving versions. That's really important, saving versions. So if something goes wrong, you can go back to yesterday's file or go back to last week's when the client liked it better, or, stuff like that. So it's important to date your stuff and make sure you're organized. Everybody has a different way to do it, but.
And yes, Paul, we are using InDesign today.
We are.
So last time we used InDesign on Adobe Live, I think it was in June, so I'm super happy to have some. With our friends. You were talking about them from the friends from Quebec.
Oh,
Studio Caserne.
Yeah, my friend Fred. Oh, Frederic.
You see Frederic?
There you go. Yeah, she knows those guys from Montreal.
Ah, Frédéric Gravier.
Yeah?
Yeah, Frédéric. So
Québécois.
we had, from Studio Caserne and Atelier Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Simon, yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, so we're gonna start setting up a page. So sometimes I like to put my master on a different layer.
Okay.
Just helpful for if you wanted to go over photography or turn things on and off as you go. Let's see. So let's work on our margins first. So before I do my guides and my grid, I like to set up the margins for the document. And I like to have uneven margins. So something that, it gets a little bit more complicated, but I think it allows for a little bit of expression in how you set up your grid. And
Okay.
there are things like the inside of the gutter, because it's perfect bound, should be a little bit bigger, than the outsides. Some people have mathematical equations to make sure all these things are right, but a lot of what I do is kind of like based on my gut and visually how I think it should be. As we create this thing, and if this magazine starts to turn into a 200-page book, our gutter's going to have to get bigger because the book's going to open less.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to think, like, as you're adding pages, things need to
Number
shift.
Of pages, yeah.
And
Makes sense.
And I'm not going to limit ourselves to a page count right now. We can be flexible with it. So for now, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it for now. And then I also like to give some more room on the bottom.
Okay.
So let's do, usually we can probably do the same here. So this gives us sort of like a, in some classic book design and layout, there's generally some like footers and information at the bottom. So they start their content a little bit higher on the page. We're not necessarily going to have that, but I think it'll just help us organize some information later on.
And I think InDesign added recently footer notes. No? Does it ring a bell?
Oh, I don't know. Sounds great.
One-step footnotes in the InDesign CC 2017. Yeah. So
is it like a style or?
Not sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I will check. I will let you know.
Let's see. I just want to give us a little bit more room on the sides. Oh, sorry. That's the bottom.
When you have a text and you add like one you say insert footnotes and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It
This
links
type
it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. We probably won't use that for this, but that is good to know. Footnotes are really fun, like adding nice details and information to the page. All right, now that we got a nice margin set up here, I'm gonna create some guides. I think the cyan might do something a little funny to the projector, does it?
Yeah, cyan can be funny and full red can be funny too.
How about light blue?
Let's try light blue. What do you have? Let me see what you have.
For all these colors?
Maybe purple, or is it too hard for
like,
you? It's you need some violet maybe.
That might be a little bright for me.
Okay.
I need something a little lighter. Lavender?
Yeah, lavender. Okay.
Love it. All right. So we're on our master still, and we're gonna create a grid here. I am a fan of flexible grids. In particular, I think right now a 12-column grid would be nice. So this gives us the opportunity to be really flexible in the number of columns that we use in layout. So on the same grid, we could do a really classic two-column grid that's really balanced. We can do a 3-column and get a little bit of more asymmetrical work in here, and having it all live on the same grid is important.
And they're asking you, so you do that on the master page, right?
On the master page, yes. Yeah. Judy, we don't use picas in the
agencies. So
can
you explain what this is? So it's a unit.
Yeah, it's a unit of measurement. Okay. I mean, to be honest, I don't have that intimate of knowledge of it.
So what do you use?
We use inches for the most part.
Inches.
And
okay.
well, I mean, it depends on actually how we're working. We work with some printers overseas, so we use the metric system there, and
millimeters
and centimeters. But for the most part, for the domestic work, we work in inches, and then pixels for web.
Okay.
So I think the default on InDesign is still picas.
Okay.
I just changed that in the preferences. If you don't have any documents open and you go into your InDesign preferences and change it there, it'll make it the default going forward. So that's a trick. If you have something open and you go into preferences, it'll link it to that specific document. So careful of that. So 12 column grid. Let's see, we're attached to our margins, which is good. And then we're there. I don't generally draw guides for the rows. I usually use a baseline grid. So it's in here.
I don't know this one.
Baseline grid?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in view, grids and guides, I always forget where it lives.
Yeah.
Baseline grid is this guy. It gets a little crazy.
Like at school.
It's just like at school, right? But it's helpful when you have a lot of information that you need to align, and it's off a little bit by our margins, I think. So let's. I'm going to turn it off for now.
So Trevor is asking. So Trevor is more in a web developer, in the web space. He's looking for a tool to create proposal, pitch documents. And he's asking if you would use InDesign, when you when you pitch your customers. And
I think InDesign is the right tool for that. It it kind of depends on what you're comfortable with. InDesign is a little bit daunting, I think, because there's a lot of technical aspects in it that aren't sort of that come naturally to people, like Photoshop. And
it's a professional tool. So this is like all the magazines that you see, like GQ, Wired. They are all using InDesign.
Yeah.
As Brett, they are starting with templates. Because the beauty of InDesign is when you have like multiple people working on the same magazine, and they can consume the templates, reuse them from one issue to another one. Okay, so that's but there are free tutorials on adobe.com, so I really invite you to try. Trevor, you would be surprised.
Yeah. Judy, yes, thank you for the reminder. You can adjust your baseline grid to start at your margins. Sorry, as I
view
on this. So let's show our baseline grid. Go into preferences.
Grids, okay.
Grids, let's see, baseline grid. Stop top of margin. That should do it. Relative to. Oh. What's that? Oh, did it go 12 points below top of margin? Oh, we start half inch. So who remembers what our top margin was? I don't. Let's see. Oops. Got it. So now.
You have to tell where the margin starts, I see.
Oh,
and
I guess
then
that
there's
wasn't
another
there
one.
Either.
The preferences.
Sorry, getting sidetracked.
Okay, change. They say change start to 0.
Oh, sorry. Or 0. Or if we do top of page, there it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's not worry about the bottom for right now. But at least we got our hang. Thanks, guys. We'll show our rulers. So as you go, sort of coming up with some rules about spacing. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go. But something called a hang line that is important in editorial design. So
Hang line. Okay.
It's something, a mark generally at the top of the page that you align your type or your images to as you go through the book. So, when you flip a book, everything will be aligned and stuff doesn't jump all over the page. So if your titles start from a certain spot, they should remain starting from a certain spot.
Okay.
Unless you're kind of starting to break some rules and making things more interesting. But like a hang line, we could say could be like three baseline grids down for now.
Okay.
We'll see as we go forward. And then again, when we're starting out here is generally pretty loose. And then generally what happens is we'll do a bunch of covers and we'll do a bunch of like intro and type style examples. And then what would happen is we would present these to the client. And then the client would pick a direction, and then we would go back and start like really finessing the file and creating the final print ready document. But for examples like this, it's not as important to have things perfect. And I think it actually helps, come up with good ideas is to not worry about the details too much. So some people like to get their pages set up before they start designing. I end up doing it as I go. A lot of my process is about iteration. So I'll do a cover and then I'll duplicate that page and do another cover and find things that are working nicely together. So we will start with that sort of idea, and we'll start here with a cover. So let's get. Sorry, I'm still on my master layer.
Mm-hmm. And stay tuned. We will give away prints, posters in about 10 minutes. So stay active in the chat, and we also invite you to enter the contest with a holiday card. Holiday card is the theme. Actually, we have one first entry. You want to see? Yeah, as a teaser, but we will review all the entries at the end. But look at that.
It's a Festivus.
It's a Festivus for the rest of us.
Nicely
Seinfeld
done.
Christmas.
Good one.
Yeah. Dear Jerry, join us for...
Good, fun.
Yeah, good.
Nice halftone.
Yeah. And keeping the structure of the of the template, you remember?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Very good entry. Okay, keep creating, keep sharing. And for the moment, it's the only entry. So far, you are the winner.
You're the winner, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So basically what we'll start doing here on the master is creating a folio.
Okay.
So folio or masthead, depending on what you call it, it's just something that'll be on every page as you run through the book. And we can go back and change it later, but it's nice to develop sort of, the base structure to work from once you have it. So I'm gonna insert some page numbers on the bottom. The current page number here, and we'll finesse the spacing and type a little bit later. And then same thing, we're probably gonna
No.
a volume 1 here.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here we'll have the title of the magazine. So
We have Thomas in the chat. He's very happy because he was just approached with a huge print project.
Oh, nice.
And he's resting with InDesign. So now, yeah.
Congrats, Thomas.
Yeah.
Did I spell that right for now? Assemblage.
Diego says, I'm so new in InDesign that I can't even edit the background from the template.
Well, check your layers.
Yeah, check the layers. They might be locked.
If you can see, it's over here. It's like two little guys. They look just like the layers in Illustrator and Photoshop too. And also, I found it pretty helpful up here where it says typography. You can adjust your
the workspace.
Your workspace. I default to this typography setting and then move some stuff around. Because in InDesign, that's mostly what's going on. You're placing images and you're working with type. So it's a good one to start with. So as far as the type goes, for here, I'm going to use a typeface called GT America, which is a really big family. As you can see, there's condensed and expanded and compressed and like all these different weights.
Oh, so many styles.
So many styles, and there's also just a regular, and it's a really nice, a really nice classic.
Wow.
But
the cheese beautiful.
Yeah, but modern at the same time, and it is really flexible. So we don't necessarily have to use it going forward in the layout, but it's nice, legible at small sizes. So we'll start from here.
Have you ever been tempted to design typefaces?
You know, I have.
Okay.
I have a couple. I've started a couple, and I've never end up finishing them. It's a really long process.
Super long.
To get something that is usable and that you're happy with.
I can't imagine, like, when I see this, all these
crazy, right?
families, you're like, well, it must be three years of work.
In designing the space and the kerning between letters is,
and the ligatures. And
it's super impressive. So as we go, like this position might shift a little bit. Generally I like to have this stuff outside the margin on the bottom. Sometimes on top, you know, sometimes we can like put it, like base align it to the margin here so we get nice space. Actually, let's do that now. Nice space between the...
Hi, Anno. Thanks for joining. We're still live with Brett for 1 hour, more or less. But then we will welcome more graphic designers. Okay, we'll be live for 7 hours of graphic design using InDesign.
All day. I'll just align those guys. All right, so now we have a loose folio set up. We can start to work on some covers. So we just need to... So basically what I was talking about before is like my process for this sort of stuff is iteration.
Okay.
I don't like all of a sudden have an amazing idea and it just like illuminates in my mind and then I do it. I have to like do something, change it slightly, do something a little bit different, and when we'll do a bunch of covers and then we'll line them all up and look at them and see what we like about each, and then we can go from there. So I don't want to master on my cover page here. So we're going to start there. So we can take a look at some of the photos that we're going to use for this issue right now. I have an idea for the cover that maybe there might be multiple covers.
Okay.
So in printing now, digital printing has gotten a lot better than it has been in the past. Usually people think about like their laser printers and you know, digital printing being kind of not that great of quality, but the technology is caught up, and what benefit you get for that is that you can print variations of things without setting up like a new print job. So traditionally you would have to like burn and expose the plates for the giant printer to make your thing, and changing something is very costly and time consuming. So with digital I could have 3 covers in this case, one with a photo
I see.
for each photographer, and then we can print each of those 1/3, you know, so it'll be sort of a surprise what cover you get, or if you like are really interested in a certain photographer you could get one of his covers. So the first photographer we have here is Jake Stengel, who is from San Francisco. He's an amazing photographer, and the photos that I picked that he sent through were stuff that he shot for Rafa. Rafa is a cycling brand based in the UK. But we have a store here in the marina, and you know they're all over the world actually, and they're known for their just like incredible attention to detail and craft, and you know Jake is no exception for that.
So it was in San Francisco, this one?
No, this is this I forget exactly where he shot this. This is for it might be Amsterdam.
Wow, okay.
As we go through. So I'll just give you a little like preview of this sort of
nice.
thing. So not only is it is Rafa about like cycling, but they're about sort of the lifestyle and in like the feelings you get.
A cappuccino and a bike.
Exactly, right? The best way to start a ride or end a ride or in the middle of a ride.
Looks like a train station.
Yeah, exactly. And like you see here, it's like, oh, here's a guy walking his bike, probably took it off the train. He's not the focus of the photo, which makes it so nice.
It's a nice commute.
Yeah, not so bad, huh? And there he is again. So just a peek at some of these photos that we'll be using. Really
very
nice light.
Amsterdamish.
Yeah. It might, I forget exactly where. And these are just like,
just at the hotel.
Part of the day, as you're riding around the city. So some really nice, like, all right, we get into some product photography that will create some nice contrast between like landscape and then close in on people, and we'll get to when we do the feature. But I really like that train station photo. So let's.
Jolly's asking, when you choose your images, are you looking for a tonal consistency, or it's more the topic?
Yeah, I think in this case, since they're from professional photographers, there will be a tonal consistency throughout already. So as you kind of can see through these, there's a warm tone across everything. Part of it is the time of day that it was shot, and part of it, could be
the filter.
Exactly. Yeah. Jake shoots a lot of stuff on film too. I can't remember exactly if this is film, but you get a really nice tactile quality to it. And the way that the light kind of makes everything glow is great. Passerbys in the city.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
looks like Belgium, like Antwerp, and maybe Cedric. But it's definitely either Belgium or Netherlands. Yeah,
I think so. I think we can check later on this website.
Yeah, we can investigate.
Yeah. So I think we'll start with let's start with a full bleed photo on the cover. It's always nice, for images that have to do with photography and visuals to have a really grand sort of full bleed beginning to it. So let's pretend that we like that for now. Oh, I just realized I'm doing everything on the master layer.
Oh, Brett.
Tisk.
Classic mistake.
Let's get this down. There we go. Let's call this something art. That's what we're doing.
Okay. And we're about to give away these illustrations. So there is Mr. T.
Oh, sorry.
By Robzilla. There is the swimming pool by Jingwei. She's an illustrator in Brooklyn.
Great, that's fun.
She did all. Do you know Etsy? You know the website? Yeah. When you open Etsy, like all the illustrations are by Jing.
I like that little octopus guy. In the corner.
So good.
Like nervous octopus.
And travel tag by Christine Herrin, who is also from San Francisco. And they're all made live. So she was like asking the chat, okay, which destination should we do? So you can win these posters. You just have to be active in the chat. So if you're just watching, just sign in, say hi, ask a question to Brett. But for 2 or 3 minutes, be active in the chat, and we will run the script to pick someone. Okay?
Great. All right. So let's see about what we do. Sorry. About our masthead or our logo, our title.
There you go.
So that was just something I pulled from the brief, but I think we'll look at a couple different ways that we can.
So you want to use the same typeface?
No, not necessarily.
For a title?
Yeah. So, sorry. This. So, something. A helpful setting in here in your pages, if you uncheck allow document. If you say uncheck allow document pages to shuffle, it'll let you duplicate single pages
to do iteration.
To do iterations, and you'll see this will probably be a bunch of single pages to start with.
Nice.
So this is a weight of the GT America, which I don't. I like it. This is like an expanded weight. But there are a couple typefaces I pulled from Typekit
awesome.
that I like. Both serif, so Abriel. Let's see if we can get in here.
So Typekit, which is also part of the Creative Cloud subscription, and for a very long time, Typekit were just for web fonts. Like for your websites. But since we merged with Creative Cloud, you can now sync most of the catalog actually and use them in your print projects, so directly in InDesign. And there are some beautiful ones. I'm a big fan of Typekit.
Yeah. Let's see. So Abriel, something I got, and then Jarvis.
Okay, I don't know Jarvis.
I think Blake too. This is pretty similar. It's got some nice points on the
semi-bold is beautiful.
Yeah, that's really nice. So I was thinking about these more for body copy. To give it a little bit more of a classic feel. But we can investigate into how they look at a bigger size too. Moderate is another typeface I like. It doesn't have a lot of weights, but it
the M is interesting.
It has some like kind of uniqueness to it,
and it's in the center, so it works well.
And has feels good in lowercase too, and title case. Other.
And we have a winner for the posters.
So
who will receive the posters? Can you read the name?
Oh yeah, Camila Diaz.
Yeah, congratulations, Camila.
Way to go, Camila.
Yeah, you will receive the 3 posters very soon, probably after the Christmas break, but the holidays.
Does she get to pick, or is it?
No, she will receive the 3.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah,
even
all
better.
Of them. Yeah.
Sweet. Way to go. So I'm just sort of going through here. Druk is another cool family that has a lot of different weights. They have like really big.
More
heavy
impact.
Weights like this.
Almost like impact.
Yeah, basically like a little bit more considered version of impact. And,
Considered.
But hey, as a youngster, I was always using impact. It's like make it as big and bold as possible, even before I knew.
A meme.
Yeah, exactly. Even before I knew why I was doing that.
And for the contest, you still have about 25 minutes to submit your entry, okay? So be active. I saw that you are working on the template. You have 25 minutes to submit it. So far, we only have the entry by Eric. Eric is still the winner so far. But I know that usually at the very last minute, this is when they submit their entries. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check the contest tab, okay? On behance.net/live, there is the chat, the info tab, where you can have a short biography about Brett, from Wikipedia.
Sure.
And there is a contest tab with all the rules, okay?
All right, so basically just setting up some kind of looks here. Let's see what one of our type kit. Where'd it go? Maybe I didn't sync it yet. Sync fonts.
Which one do you want to sync?
They both look to be synced. Maybe.
Okay, so and they are not here.
I don't seem to be.
Okay. Can you check if you're... Oh, okay. Can you click on your Creative Cloud desktop icon here? There we go.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's why. So I don't know what's happening. I didn't have the time to read it, but okay.
I just don't think.
So if you go on Assets, you have fonts, you see? And now it's synced.
Okay.
So it should be there.
Cool. Let's try again. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's good that you are showing that actually, because the way it works, because all these typefaces on Typekit, we manage the license. They are not free.
Yeah.
So the way to manage the license and to be able to use them in the system, so it's not only in design. Actually, you could use them in Word, PowerPoint, because it's just there. It's through the Creative Cloud desktop app. So you need to make sure to launch the app, being signed in, and it will sync everything.
Connected.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is Abriel here. I don't really it's a nice typeface. I don't think it is the right vibe that we want right now. I think something a little bit more modern, and I'm thinking sans serif for the title is going to be the way to go. Let's see what else we got. But it's good, even if you first think it's a bad idea, leave it on there and, see what other people think. Ask your neighbor, ask whoever you have.
Ask the chat.
Yeah, ask the chat. Circular is nice as well.
Yeah.
I think
Very clean one.
Yeah, I like its lowercase. I think it has a really nice balance to it. It's being used a lot these days, so I'm trying to stay away from it and kind of pull into something new.
Daniel in the chat has a very good idea. He said there should be a font of the year, such as the Pantones.
Oh, that is a good idea.
The color of the year. Yeah, we should have as
Adobe.
Typekit maybe.
Yeah,
maybe Typekit should do that.
That's a good
Typeface
idea.
of the year. Yeah.
Let's see. I want to juke. I'm sort of liking the idea.
Lato also, anti-thing. Yeah, Lato is also overused these days, but it's very
Lato
nice
is nice
one.
too. Yeah. I'm liking the idea of something extended. It's called wide in this case. This one's really big. It just gives, a certain feel to it and has a lot of impact.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's huge, right?
Wow.
So if you can imagine, if you go
Almost industrial. That's it.
if we go in here, and something, especially something that we're going to use over photography, having a lot of
you need texture. Yeah, you
space
need,
is
you need
nice.
space.
So that looks pretty cool. That looks fairly European too, especially with this photo. But let's see. I had a couple ideas as far as maybe how we arrange this.
Paul is asking if Google fonts can only be used for the web. You should check the license, but I'm pretty sure you can use them also for print.
Yeah, I think you can. It's a little bit harder to get to, but I think you can download the True Type or the Open Type or whatever is happening there.
But usually they are not as professional as the one you will find on Typekit because they are made for the web. And in InDesign, you have much more typography options, much more ligatures, alternatives for characters. So usually much more styles. So trying something different now.
Yeah, so here come the iterations. It's like, okay, if we have a typeface that we think feels interesting, then the next step is how do we use it? So I think there's something interesting about breaking up the word like this.
The corner.
In the corner, there's sort of it gives a little bit of a frame motif, if you would, and that is kind of reminiscent of photography and how designers use space. It makes it a little bit harder to read when you come like that, but there's something to it.
Hey, you can keep the idea and.
Yeah, for sure. And I also like the idea of.
And tomorrow you will wake up and say it was a terrible idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to give it a day.
Always sleep on it.
Sorry, Tarek. What did I miss? Yeah, Elaine is not sure about breaking up the words. She's like, and then Megan say, I really like that. So
Megan likes it.
Yeah.
Hey, if once people have opinions about it, you're in the right zone.
Okay.
I think whether they're good or bad, it's eliciting a reaction, which is always good. Okay, now I have to remember how to round corners in InDesign.
They want to elect Lobster as the font of the year.
Lobster? Yeah, classic, right? Yeah.
Classic.
Followed by Papyrus. All right, let's see. So I'm just making this shape. I wish it was as easy to work with corners in InDesign as it is in Illustrator. Let's just draw a path then. I like the idea of something happening on a curved path.
Okay, so you're using the pen tool first?
I'm using the pen tool,
The curve, okay.
And then we'll do
type
text on path.
Type on the path.
Oops, sorry. There we go. There we are. And let's say. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Type on path. There we go. So let's grab this style. Did it disappear already?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh. Okay.
So, let's see.
British saying, waiting to see how the letters are kerned, once it's placed on a path. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's surprisingly, that's kind of the nice thing about extended typefaces is that it allows you some flexibility to change the position without going totally crazy. I want to make this a little... Sorry, working with curves in InDesign is not as fast as other programs, but we're going to get there. So a little bit.
Yeah, you need to be brave to use the pen tool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. That's kind of weird. Sometimes weird is good. But maybe it's not.
Then you'll say you can mimic the contour of the train station. Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. If we mirrored it.
So maybe.
Yeah, or it's like it's like the complete opposite. But one thing we don't want to do is to create a title for the magazine that is based off one photo,
on one
since
picture.
It'll be used all over. It's like, okay, I don't love that. It was worth a shot though. This is kind of interesting. I think we'll try a couple more that aren't full bleed photos. So if we say create a new title, let's even change the image a little bit. So something with a little bit of color is nice.
Okay.
So, especially if we want to, let's say we want to have here, and I think we'll do a color behind it. And I sort of like the color of
the door.
Of the door. Maybe even to complement, we would do the blue. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's stick with this for now. And then maybe this time we're here, but we do it a little bit more understated.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah. So this even has like sort of a train feel to it too.
Yeah, it's true.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Just because it's so long.
The structure and the A also.
Yeah. So let's call it this for now. Actually, let's do this. So something that could be cool that I like to see sometimes on magazines is actually using some of the content on the cover. So let's say we do a secondary piece here, and we'll use a different weight of Druk. Let's say actually, how about Jarvis? What does that do? Oh, sorry.
So when you display the list of fonts, you can click on the TK here.
Oh, and just
display the font coming from Typekit.
That's nice. So let's keep it bold, but let's make it small.
So you want to feature the name of the photographers? Or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think
a table of content. Right?
Exactly, like a table of contents on the outside of the book is interesting to me. So since we're using all caps here, it's a nice contrast to go to a title case or a sentence case here. So we have Jake Stengel. Another photographer we're working with is Brian Sheffield, who will get into IE.
So Paul, to duplicate an element like a text block or anything, you just press command
option
and drag and drop.
And drag, yeah.
And it works with anything. Pictures, text blocks. It works in Illustrator too. It's a same trick. Even in Photoshop.
Yeah.
In Adobe XD.
It's probably my most used
shortcut.
short key for sure.
This and the space bar too.
Space bar, yeah. And then Kenneth Mormon is our third. So that's kind of interesting, you know, kind of like stacked up on the top there. It could be nice to start overlapping the images with it. It is a little bit risky because depending on what photo you use, you could run into some legibility issues here. So maybe for now, we leave it up there. And then I would say it's also important to have a note as to what volume it is. So let's call this volume 1 for now. We're gonna make it smaller. Well, that wasn't any smaller. Let's say at this size, 14 point would be nice, small enough. So we start to have a nice balance between things here. I think, like maybe this gets centered, and you give you know, even if we're not using the photo full bleed, we're giving it like a nice treatment here and allowing it to, you know, be uncropped and kind of have its moment.
So you imagine that for the second issue, it will be a different picture and a different field color?
Yeah, I think so. I think that could be part of the system as we go forward, and, you know, allows us to create a lot of variation, but also, you know, having this consistent element. So what else could we add here? Sometimes there's
Kevin's asking to scribble layouts too.
Oh yeah, I do. I'm very scribbly in my notebooks.
I'll try to show it.
You can look, yeah. No one will be able to read it, but that's the idea. Just in case you lose your sketchbook, you know, anyone taking your ideas. Let's see, can you see this? So basically, this is like a page of cover ideas. So, you know, these X's are meant to be images, and then all these messy lines are where type could potentially go to get the balance. And then like just weird, like scrawly notes about different types of content and things like that. You know, not pretty, but stuff that you can recognize and come back to is always super helpful.
Nice.
Yeah. Not a glamorous part of editorial design, but an important one.
You can scribble layouts. That's a good news.
Yeah. Layouts are easy. They're just squares, right? Okay, cool. So that feels pretty good, but I'm not totally convinced.
Len says it looks like website wireframing. Yeah, I mean it's the same approach.
Yeah, same idea.
You have a page and you need a.
Yeah. The nice thing about the principles of design is that they can be applied to almost anything that you're doing, whether it's three-dimensional space, you know, imagine just a page with 4 sides and you can do the same thing. Let's see, what else? What other ideas do we have for a cover? Yeah, another iteration I think of this would be something, let's see, what do we do? Let's do image on the bottom. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend cropping photographers' photos. They get sensitive about that sort of thing, and and they cropped it that way for a reason. But for the purpose of this exercise, I think we're gonna do that, and we might change the photo even here. So with the same, like, pretend that we have a system of photo, color, and type. We can have some iterations inside that world. So whether we're centering it and kind of balancing things like that, or we split the page in half here is another way to do it. Let's see what else.
And we're live at Adobe. From the Adobe headquarters, Ryan.
Judy, my grid will come into play once we get into the layout of content. The cover is less important to be concerned about the grid, mostly because there isn't a ton of information, and as long as you have alignments with the content that you have on the page, you'll be fine. But once we're getting into like columns of body text and where intro copy and captions are going to live, it'll be a more important place to talk about that. Let's see. Let's go to a different photo. What should we get?
We're receiving new entries, so yeah, we will have some stuff to review at the end of the show, which is great.
Oh yeah, this is a good photo too. There's a frame inside of a frame, and we still get this.
Oh, that's nice.
This color treatment too, and the expression on that guy's face is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Having a ball. All right, so let's see. Everything else interesting here? Yeah, something I like to do too is sometimes just like delete everything and start, with something as basic as it gets. So let's pretend that we don't use any color.
And the hybrid, when you're working at the hybrid agency, so do you have sometimes this kind of brainstorm, but like multiple designers working on several proposals, and you just meet and...
Yeah, exactly. So for projects, for big projects, like this would be if we did it in the studio, we would brief everybody in the room together and talk about what the client wants and what kind of thing we're after, and then everyone would go back and work on their own for a little bit and either collect, swipe, and inspiration, or start in on a direction themselves. And then after a couple days or hours, or depending on the timeline, we'd all come back into the same room, pin stuff up on the wall, go around and talk about why people made certain decisions, and then people will have a say of what they like and don't like, and then we start to whittle down the ideas and the directions from there. And then after doing that a couple of times, it's put together, like a presentation put together for the client. Where we take different directions with different ideas and different ways into the solution, and then it starts the client rounds of feedback.
Hi Yushi, the winner of the contest during Brett's show will be announced in about 15 minutes. Stay tuned. Yeah, in about maybe 20 minutes we'll start reviewing the entries, and then he will pick his favorite project.
Actually, let's do...
Judy's asking, is the contest the same for all 3 segments? So yeah, the 3 other ones, yes, it will be the same theme and the same template, but the template will change tomorrow. And on Thursday it will be a different one.
Okay. So here we can look at...
Want to try another photographer?
Yeah, so this photographer, Brian Sheffield, so we have a series that he shot on Odd Future, the hip-hop group, a handful of years ago, like Tyler, the Creator here, Earl Sweatshirt, those guys. So he basically just like this really sort of lo-fi shot on film, and basically just followed these guys around an arcade and like being silly out in the street, doing stuff like this. Like, this is a great photo. This could be great on the cover. So another way, to really make this as simple as we can, and we could still have the same type of information here. We would turn to black, obviously, and then we would treat this a little bit different since we don't have those corners to lock each other up in the layout. So decide how we would want to separate.
And Kevin is asking you, do you use sometimes mood boards?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the research process too. Not only for the competitors, but to look at visual reference. So you kind of have like an idea of the direction that you want to go in. That helps, time-wise, manage that. And let's say we want these guys to be connected with M dashes, and then maybe we introduce a different color in here too. Let's see, it could be smaller. So when you're doing print, you can use small type, unlike web design. So, this typeface will be legible down to probably, 7 points if we wanted it to be. You'd adjust your tracking to be a little wider at that point, because when you have really small type and you print, some of the ink will bleed together. So to counteract that, you would just increase your tracking slightly, maybe like 25 to 50 points, and then you get a little bit more breathing room, in there. So let's see. Kind of like this being offset a little bit. Maybe lock it up here.
Hey, Anne-Marie, good to see you. So we'll be live also tomorrow and on Thursday with Brett. So still brainstorming on the cover. But then you will see the full process, working maybe on the first article, maybe a poster on day 3.
Absolutely. And once the cover is an important sort of like visual style to get a hold of, and then you can take sort of the vibe and the styles that we've done, and mesh them into the full editorial piece. Like we could do stuff like this. Like we could take a green from his hat. It could be cool. Let's see.
Cool hat.
Or we take a blue from his shoe. That's kind of nice. Let's see, or his purple. So,
or the mustard.
From the hydrant.
Just from me, because I like mustard.
Oh yeah, no, that's good actually. Yeah. And then what if we get weird and start introducing other colors here.
Hi Kaylee, thanks for watching.
So something we'll do as we design is, color picking is great. It's not super precise, and especially when you're printing, there's a lot of options as far as what actually gets put down on paper. So say we like this sort of strange combination of purple and mustard, hydrant mustard maybe, and we want to make it really sing on press in the printers. We would go into our Pantone swatch book and find colors that match closely. So then we're able to determine an exact color match to.
And you would find the Pantone in InDesign.
Well, we usually do it physical first for print. So we have I forgot to bring some, but we have books of swatches and chips, and it's important to look on the right type of paper. There's coated and uncoated, and colors will change somewhat dramatically sometimes on there. So we look through our book and we find a mustard or something that's close to here, and then we have a universal language to talk to the printer and say this yellow is supposed to be this, so there's no question as to how that printer's going to do it. So this is kind of interesting. We could add a little bit. Let's add this purple to this swatch right now, because maybe we want to give a border to these photos. So this is something you could do. I'm gonna go in here and turn the stroke to the inside. Something that could give a little bit more focus to the photo.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily have to be purple. I don't like white. Yeah, let's do a purple for now. So that's a nice sort of, it's just visual spacing for now. Sort of look here. So what I like to do is just actually before we do that, let's try something with 3 photos on the cover, so we get an idea of the content itself. So I'll do a new page from here. Let's see, we'll get rid of that. I'll move these out of the way for now. So, let's say
we have viewers like Dana. She's publishing online, and it takes time to upload. Sorry, Dana, but Make sure to submit the entry. We'll start reviewing the entries in 6 minutes. Okay.
6 minutes?
Yeah.
Deal.
Review the entry, you pick a winner, and if we have time, we can come back
Great.
to the project.
Let's get
We have very good
cover
ones, you will
done.
see. Really amazed by the quality. We have quality audience today.
Love it. Thanks for tuning in. So everybody's getting ready for the holidays.
Mark is saying maybe use Pantone for the cover and CMYK for the rest.
Yeah, so
it's usually the case.
yeah, it depends. We use Pantone on the inside of the books a lot too. It depends on your budget. It costs a little bit more to add units to a print job usually, but it's a nice way to, you have fluorescence and metallics that you can use in the book, and that's the kind of stuff you don't get in print, or on the web, is these like really tactile, like wild looking colors. Yeah, so always something to look at, and like a great conversation to have with your printer. Let's go through some. Kenneth's photos are
lobster.
from this is a series he shot on Cape Cod. So a lot of cool little details here. So let's look. We have 2 people on here. So something that's nice about Kenneth's series is there's not really any people, which is cool. So I like it's kind of like ghost town feeling, which is great. And something, this lighthouse is great. So I would start to use a grid here. We'll do that a little bit later since we're running short on time. But the idea of bleeding stuff off the page creates some really nice movement. We can make this narrow. It's a nice movement on the page, and you get make it feel really active. So, maybe like that. We can do smaller.
Daria is asking again, like, what needs to be unchecked in order to duplicate the pages?
When you're in your pages panel here, you go to your hamburger menu, and then you uncheck the allow document pages to shuffle.
Okay.
I don't totally understand what that means, but that's what
works.
you check to make the pages move around. Then we'll get this back down to 14.
And Pipe and Gun is asking you, I'm just curious, do you ever use grids when working in InDesign?
I do. Generally, I keep the cover pretty loose.
Okay.
So you'll see, once we get past the cover and we're onto our editorial page, our content pages, we have a nice 12-column grid set up with a hang line, which we'll get to most likely tomorrow, and then we'll really get into the nuts and bolts of setting type styles and creating different column layouts and arranging a lot more information than we would on the cover.
Okay.
So let's leave that there. This guy. Maybe I don't need these anymore.
Olusanya says it really looks like an assemblage. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, especially this one, putting stuff together, right? And let's pretend, something I just realized, we don't have bleed on our pages. That's a good thing to remember to do. Let's pick, like, say we want sort of a cream colored paper. Let's do that. that's nice. Adding a little tone. All right. How much time do we have before the review?
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm just gonna do one thing. So something I like to do.
Okay.
When I'm looking at iterations of stuff is just create a new document and export what I'm looking at and put it all together. So in here, I create a folder called an outbox in all of my jobs where my exports go. And I'm just gonna export some JPEGs really quickly. We want 1:7. We don't need it high res.
We have a Chelias or Kelias maybe. So what's up? Are you a member of Hybrid Design?
I am a member of Hybrid Design.
He's very proud.
I am.
A proud member.
It's a great place. Sorry.
The heels, yeah. We're working with master pages, and this is the structure that we will reuse tomorrow, because we'll be back live with Brett tomorrow at the same time, 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah. Here's a look at one master I have. Once we get into the content tomorrow, I think there will be 4 masters.
Oh, okay.
One for each photographer, so we get the name of whoever the feature is about, as well as the name here, and we'll have to rework kind of how that lays out once we get there. But definitely, master pages are very, very important. So what I like to do, just like say we have a bunch of covers. I like to just export them all together and kind of see, let's say 3 on a page. Like there's our full bleeds. And then here, dark colors.
Nice. Very nice way to present the...
Yeah, and it's actually,
options.
it's helpful like when you're going back to clients as well. So, and also, like if you're feeling crazy, you can put a nice drop shadow on this, make it feel like...
no way.
Oh yeah.
Like it's flying.
It's flying. Wow. You know, a subtle drop shadow. People abuse drop shadows a lot of times, and don't do that.
Make them fly.
Yeah. But let's put a 20%, so we just get a little separation from the page.
Are you ready for some reviews?
I'm ready.
We have 12 or 13 entries to review. It's a lot, huh?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay, so we invited you today to download the free template on Adobe Stock. It's a holiday card template, and open it in InDesign, tweak the template with your own design, and publish it online. And you shared the links with us, which is awesome. So let's review the first one. So it's by Olga, you know, with some nice
Olga, very nice.
Here.
Yeah, the script. Dear friends, too.
Yeah,
great.
Very nice. We have this one from Dana. Oh, thanks, Dana. Dear Smith family. Yeah.
Great.
With the members of the family.
Oh, nice. Personalized.
Yeah, very good. And some variations. Very good.
Oh, me and my family.
Oh, cute illustration.
Cute.
Merry Christmas. Dear Sam.
Very nice message.
Oh, and that's the template. Okay, thanks. Oh, this one is more abstract. You know, like you start with these shapes.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. Dear Brett. Oh, it's for you.
Oh, thanks. That's great.
This one is from Elena.
Great. Nice, friendly.
Okay, with the tree.
Oh, yeah, I like those trees.
Oh, to all the creative minds with the Grateful logo. Oh, that's nice. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, sad.
That's so mean.
No kids watching, right?
Yeah. Happy holidays with love from Denver.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, and it looks like the mountains in Denver, maybe.
Mile high. Great. It's almost ski season.
Megan, yeah. Very clean. Very good. Happy holidays. Okay, more realistic style by Diego. May your holiday
photo.
Beautiful. Yeah. Some and also a pattern here with the illustrations. Okay, holiday Virgil.
Oh, Virgil. Yeah.
Wow.
Off-white. That's pretty hype.
Yeah.
That guy.
Very hype. The very best to you in 2000, no? Very nice composition.
Yeah, that's
I like
cool.
the crazy pattern here.
Yeah, a little texture.
Happy holidays, happy new year. Sarah and Dale. Yep,
That's great.
very arty. And the one that we used, I think it was by Eric.
Yeah.
With Festivus.
For the rest of us.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so I know it's tough, but is there one that you want to reward?
Yeah, can we just cycle back through them?
Sure.
Denver one is great. Yeah, a lot of good variation, guys. That's great. I think I prefer the second to last one, the little bit more abstract colors and textures.
Okay, so which one was this? Can you tell me?
That was,
stop?
Yep, keep going. I think it might have been a Sarah. This one.
Oh,
Yeah. I think that one's really cool. A little bit
Okay.
of offset Santa kind of halftone print effect there.
mm-hmm.
It seems like a nice, unexpected Christmas card to get. A little bit less traditional,
Okay.
but still very festive. I think
Cool.
that's great work.
Yeah, congratulations. Is it
Sarah's
Sarah? Maybe guess you can confirm, but
I believe so.
or maybe not. Yeah, but we'll try to find out.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but great job and great entries.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Keep sharing, keep work. You can work also on new alternatives if you want to share them with Ryan. Ryan will be live with us in about 15 minutes. So yeah.
Great.
So let's get back to the proposals and
Yeah.
so congratulations, to the author of this amazing holiday card. You will receive a private message and get a 1-year Creative Cloud subscription.
Way
If
to
you are
go.
already a Creative Cloud member, it will extend your membership. Okay.
Oh, Schlese, you have a
I'd say
hybrid
it's
magazine.
also the favorite of Nina. Okay, good.
Oh yeah, great.
Awesome. No, it's a very good one, but yeah, there are so many ones. The Denver one, very good entries. Thanks.
Yeah, way to go, guys.
Okay, so let's get
cool.
back to
Let's get back to
our
this. So
proposals.
I'm really liking how this page feels. I like the simple use of color that we're doing in all of these.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm ready to pick one yet. Do you think you guys have a favorite maybe between these three?
Yeah. Should we add some number very quickly?
Let's do it.
1, 2, 3. Oh, we can say 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Let us know in the chat. Just type the one you prefer between 1, 2, and 3.
Is that big enough? You can make those bigger.
Yeah, well, I think it's quite obvious in this case. Okay, we have the yellow one, 3, 3. Yeah, I like your yellow one.
3. Oh.
1, 2. Oh my god. 3, 2. Wow,
Whoa.
it's yeah. They are all so different,
Yeah.
Creative directions. So how would you? Maybe you can try this exercise. Like, how would you pitch this design to the customer? Like the first one, why would you?
Yeah, so I think the pitch for all three
Yeah.
of these would be pretty similar because we're sort of trying to do the same thing. So basically, we're trying to highlight a creative, right? So in this case, it's a photographer, and in all of these cases, we're giving the photographer a special area and a special moment to have to display their artwork. So we're not doing anything that overlaps the image. In this case, we're bleeding it for a little bit more impact. And then in the third case, we're using a stroke around to bring a little bit more focus to the image. So these things would all work in a system and can work with any photo and color combination. But I think the fact that we're giving the artist their space to shine is the most important bit of these three directions. I like them all, so I don't know how we
Stop.
we tally that.
Oh my god.
But it's all a lot of 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
I feel you on this one. This number 3 with the yellow is a little bit of a looser feel, so not quite as structured as this. Like alignment here, alignment here. This one is centered and allows us maybe to act a little bit more playful. It doesn't hurt that Tyler is standing on a fire hydrant here. So I think maybe I like the split pea. Oh, the split pea, that color? Pantone cover of the year? Split pea soup. I assume that's what you're talking about.
Nice.
3 without the frame.
It's a tough call.
Getting some critique. Okay, so I think it looks like 2 and 3 are the favorites. So in that case, I will leave 2 and 3 in layout for now. We don't have to decide. Important, before we do this,
Version.
let's do a V2 for today. So if for some reason we want to go back to our old covers, we can. So we got rid of those. And so in our file now is option 2 and option 3. And we can continue to finesse this stuff and try with and without the border, adjust some colors and things like that. But I think this is a good direction to move forward on as we go into the content tomorrow.
Awesome. So what's the plan for tomorrow?
Plan for tomorrow is going to be to start laying out these actual features. So I have a list. So the Rafa feature from Jake is going to be just a regular editorial photo and type. Probably I'm going to be using lorem ipsum or placeholder copy for this stuff. I may write a couple headlines and pull quotes, but for the body copy, we'll keep it fake for now, just so we can see the texture and the use of the type. And then I think for the Odd Future series that Brian shot, I think we're going to turn that into an interview, which will be a nice way to introduce a secondary type style. So something that's nice when you go through a book is when you get to an interview, it feels different. So you have a couple different voices in the piece, and we'll adjust our type styles accordingly. And then Kenneth's Cape Cod series will be, again, just a regular photo and type feature. So we'll have 2 photo heavies pieces in here, and then an interview to kind of break up and introduce some new styles. So that's what's on board for tomorrow. And then if we get through that, we can start working on a poster to promote we're gonna do like a fake
fake party in the studio.
A fake party in the studio to launch the magazine and get everybody stoked on it, and all your friends are coming, all your photographer guys, and it'll be great.
Yeah, so thanks for watching this first episode with Brett. So again, he will be back tomorrow at the same time on behance.net/live. We will welcome in a few minutes, so stay tuned. We'll welcome Ryan with Kathleen. They are ready. They are in the back. They are dancing already. I can say that. And they will be live for 2 hours. Then after, I will be back with Maud. So we will try not to speak French, okay? We will try to keep it in English, but she's from Quebec. And she's working in New York now, but she will be live with us. And we'll end the night with Marsal. There you go. With a Spanish accent, which I love. But I think it's coming from Washington, from DC, actually. So
nice.
Yeah.
Long trip.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you can still enter the contest, okay, because the theme of the day is holiday cards. So make sure to check the contest tab on behance.net/live. And Kathleen and Ryan, they will review your entries. Make sure to create alternates if you didn't win during the first show. That's perfectly fine. And we will do more giveaways. During the next segment, we will also give aways. Here we go. These posters. Okay, so stay tuned with Ryan and Kathleen. And thanks, Brett, for this.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. How do you feel?
It's a pleasure. Feel great. I think. Excited about the covers we have here, and we can get into some details and some type tomorrow.
Awesome, and we had great audience. Thanks for all the great questions. You were all awesome. And stay tuned, okay? We'll be back just in a few minutes with Ryan and Kathleen. Bye, Brett. Thanks again.
Bye. Thanks,
See you
guys.
Tomorrow. Bye, everyone.